Right, this is a quick road test video for a Honda Civic. This is the 2.2 Type S GT model. This particular car is registered SM10RZU, and mileage at the start of this brief road test is 59,626 miles. The reason we do the road test, as much as anything else, is just so customers can see the car's in operation prior to coming to see us. That way, obviously, if there's any issues relating to the car, we can feed those back to you, and also just give feedback on the vehicle itself. So, sorry, little doggy on the left and right hand side, don't want to run it over. Yeah, just so you know, give you some reassurance. So if you're setting off, whether it be 5 minutes up the road or commonly now from all over Europe, in fact. So what I try and do on these videos is mimic kind of what you do yourself when you come and road test a car. And important to point out as well that the road tests are done on the roads literally right outside our premises, so hopefully should be representative of what anyone else should feel when they come and drive the car. Starting with the engine of the vehicle, sorry, just go back slightly. This is a facelift version, so 2010 model, or 2009, but a 2010 model. I'll get that right in a second. It's a 2009 model, new facelift version, but a 2010 car. I'll get there. That meant that the car had a whole host of revisions made to it. A lot of it cosmetic. They improved the quality of the plastics in certain areas of the car. And on the exterior, there's a sort of some subtle changes on the styling as well, which really do add up. It's a fabulous looking car. The engine in this vehicle, you know, very, very well known to pretty much everybody in the trade now. It's a wonderful unit. It's the CTDI Honda diesel. This is 136 horsepower. Very gutsy engine, but goes about its business very, very smoothly indeed. What's lovely about it is just when you rev a diesel, normally speaking, you get a really noticeable kind of diesel clatter, but these are much smoother than most. Put your foot down there, and it's very kind of petrol-like in the way it pulls in terms of the sound, but totally the opposite because it's got so much guts to it. All the horsepower seems to be there. It's a very, very quick car. No warning lights on the dashboard related to the engine or anything else for that matter. But a wonderful unit. And for those who don't already know, we always put it on our adverts and worth pointing out, these engines don't use cam belts, so there's no scheduled change for them, because they use a cam chain. We've never ever changed one. The advantage of that is clear that quite often you buy a used car around about 50,000-60,000 miles, only to find out that 10,000 miles down the road you've got a £400 or £500 bill waiting for you for a cam belt, but no such thing on these cars. Also, which is probably why they've become so popular, even if they weren't already before, is the fact that they don't use these horrible diesel particulate filters, which are afflicting so many manufacturers so badly, and obviously causing customers horrendous issues. The Honda have far fewer issues than most with them, as is fairly typical of the breed. But the reality is this one hasn't got it, so you've got none of that to worry yourself about. But the engine is spot on. Engine then obviously runs through clutch into gearbox. Clutch bites absolutely the right point on the pedal travel. Bites very well. Put your foot down hard in any gear. It's there. There's no vibrations when the clutch is on or off. There's no change in engine note. So all is good in there. And gearbox then obviously feeds through to the 6-speed manual gearbox, which is a truly wonderful gearbox. I always go on about it on these videos, but it merits it really. The quality of gear change for something that is essentially cable operated from the gear lever here to the box inside and under the engine bay. It's quite astonishing. It's a real lesson to other manufacturers and how to maintain precision, even when operating through cables. It adds to the drive of the car, doesn't detract as so many gearboxes do, and it's all but impossible to get kind of lost in the gearbox. The gear changes are quick, they're smooth, they're precise, but the quality of this synchro mesh means there's no bulking with them at all. It really is an absolute joy to use. So in terms of the powertrain of the car, genuinely there's absolutely no fault with it at all. It drives beautifully, it's very smooth, and exactly as I'd hope to see and feel in one of these cars. The car's just been serviced, and so all should be in fine fettle. There's only a couple of minor things we picked up on which have been attended to. One was nothing to do with mechanical, was the little gas strut on the back was just a bit weak, so we had the struts replaced on the tailgate. But apart from that, all good indeed. Also, brakes on the car, when we did the pre-delivery inspection, they look as though they're quite recent. In fact, they were. I think they're about sort of 4,000 or 5,000 miles ago. New discs and pads around on the vehicle, and it certainly feels like it, because the brakes on the car are absolutely rock solid. No vibrations, no juddering, no fade, nothing. Also, steering, track's absolutely bullet straight. No vibrations coming back through the steering wheel of the car. Again, the tracking is absolutely spot on. It's not pulling left, right, or otherwise. I'll come back more to that in a second, because we'll talk about the chassis of the vehicle more. Whilst I'm on about the suspension of the vehicle, worth pointing out that things like I can't hear any sort of noises underneath the car that shouldn't be there. And I mention this quite a lot in my videos. It's in reality, what I'm talking about is you can hear a car going over a bump, which we probably will in a second, so you can hear the suspension sort of knock like there. But what I'm listening out for is kind of those noises that shouldn't be there, sort of mechanical clunks and bangs, sort of aftershocks, and that's typical of something like sort of worn struts or little tie rods or anti-roll bar links, which aren't unsafe, but it just makes the car feel kind of old and a bit tired. But this, so it's absolutely rock solid, and I genuinely cannot detect wear through the steering of the vehicle or the suspension of the car. It's very, very impressive indeed. It's so taut. Again, I always point out, this isn't just a box ticking exercise. If there's an issue with the vehicle, I always point it out. Because and I have done on many of my previous videos. So if there's something there, that I will let you know. The only thing I can notice on this car is a tiny bit of a squeak on the clutch pedal when you push the clutch pedal up and down. That may well be, so I was going to point out that the only thing we found, again, when I did the first road test, was the cruise control wasn't functioning. And that's actually a little micro switch, which operates a bit like a brake switch. And that's a new one's been fitted onto the clutch pedal, and that's probably just needs a little bit of WD in it, just because it's dry and brand new. But obviously the cruise control now works absolutely beautifully. Looking inside the car, in fabulous condition. It really, really is. I absolutely adore these dashboards. Wonderful places to sit in the car. You've got this fantastic, unique dashboard. It could only be a Civic, and that's what I love about it. It's beautifully built. There's not a squeak or rattle from the trim of the vehicle. All the plastics are in very good order, and it kind of brings me on to kind of where the revisions were made on these facelift cars, and you can tell them straight away, because particularly around here, just either side of the lower binnacle, you've got this kind of plastic, sort of pseudo carbon fibre look, if you like. And that used to be a shiny black plastic, which looked very nice, but could very easily mark with fingernails, and could look a bit tatty over the years. But this is a much better affair. Works absolutely beautifully. All the pixelation on the round the clock, and the radio is absolutely as it should be. Just make sure I'm not going to run anyone over. But it's all beautiful working order. Air conditioning pumps out ice cold air. I checked that when it first came in as well, but it's part of our check. But the plastics are all really, really good indeed in here. My favourite part of the dashboard is what kind of sweeps around in front of me with this two-deck or two-tier dashboard that they use. Absolute stroke of genius as far as I'm concerned. It polarised opinion when it first came out, but those that use them know exactly what I mean. It's It's like now I'm looking round the corner in front to see if there's a car coming the other way, but out of the corner of my eye or my peripheral vision, I can see the speed I'm doing absolutely as clear as day, because it's mounted lovely and high up on a digital display. And it's so clever, and it's also adds to the safety of the vehicle and obviously pedestrians and other road users, because you're able to look ahead, concentrate on that. If you're going through a 30 mile an hour or 40 mile an hour speed limit or whatever, and you're concentrating on your speed, you keep looking down at your speed, your eyes are off the road. Here you don't have to, and I think it's just a brilliant setup. And it breaks my heart to say that the new Honda Civic, which is going to be launched in the next 12 months or so in the UK, might even be sooner than that, they are reverting to a more conventional binnacle, which I think is a real shame. I really do, but there we are. So either side of the speedo, up the top there, we've got a little rev indicator, just to say that, it's a little rev light, just sort of suggests it might be worth changing up now to encourage economy. And likewise, little rev display on the left hand side as you approach the red line, which is really more for the petrol engines, in all honesty. And on the right hand side, an econometer as well, all working absolutely perfectly. Down below that, we've got a kind of a more conventional binnacle, but what again I love about it, it's got this kind of hologram effect where it kind of leaps out at you a bit, and that's got a big dominating rev counter on it, which is really, really nice. It just gives all the information you need very simply. To either side of that, we've got a temperature gauge, which is running at a third, which is exactly what it wants to be on a Honda car, and then a fuel gauge on the side of that. GT models, obviously, there's quite a big difference between these and the standard Type S versions. Don't think there isn't. You've got things like the glass panoramic roof above my head, dual zone climate control, cruise control, front fog lights. It's quite a bit there. Power folding mirrors. They all work absolutely beautifully. But finally, just like sort of come to the end, just a couple of things. I mean, it drives fantastically. Anyone who comes will be utterly thrilled with the car. It really does. What I love about the Type S's is the fact that they're slightly wider on the track than the standard Civic, and for some reason, I don't know why, it just seems to ride that little bit more comfortably than the standard Civic as well, and yet it's slightly sharper in the corners. The standard Civic's a brilliant car, and is one of the best chassis in its class, but this just has the edge. It's a fantastic car to drive. In all honesty, there's a huge following for them, and quite rightly so. It's a quick, genuinely quick car. It's comfortable, it's refined, it's reliable, it's practical, and you look at a car that does over 50 to the gallon. So I mean, it pretty much does everything anybody could reasonably ask of a car. Anyway, that concludes the video. If there's anything I missed out on the video, then please don't hesitate. Please do give me a call. I'll be happy to answer any question you may have on the car.